Here in the St. Louis metropolitan area, Panera is still called the St. Louis Bread Company. But everything inside the building still says Panera. Crossing over the mighty Mississippi. The old miss, the old man. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. And unlike Clark Griswold, I actually know where I'm going. This is most definitely the right exit. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to Mike Allen from Chicagoland. As you can probably tell, broadcasting currently from the city of St. Louis inside the Show Me State, making Missouri state number 4 of the states I've profiled here on this channel, joining Illinois, Texas, and Kentucky. As I've mentioned before on previous videos, I'm trying to visit all 50 states, where I profile something in each of the 50 states on my YouTube channel here. So that's the long-term goal, and chipping away at it one at a time. So I'm going to do something today on this video that I've wanted to do for many years. I'm going to be heading up into the St. Louis Arch. So hope you'll come and join me, and let's get started. Completed in 1965, the St. Louis Arch stands 630 feet tall. It's a symbol of westward expansion here in the city of St. Louis and Gateway Park, right along the Mississippi River. The city of St. Louis is kind of like the hub of westward expansion back during the pioneering days when people were starting to settle the West. Lewis and Clark stopped here on their way up to the Pacific Northwest. Interstate 44 is running underneath us right on the other side of this wall here, and to get into the arch you have to go through this entryway. Had to go through security here. It was pretty much just like being in an airport, but now I head down to the museum and wait for my turn to go up into the tram. So we are on federal property, and the COVID levels are considered high here in St. Louis, so these are required when inside the building. Yeah, I've been down to the museum here before, but never up in the arch. I was a broke college student at the time and had barely enough money to get down to St. Louis to come and see the Cubs and the Cardinals play each other at Busch Stadium. Finally go up into the arch for the first time, but this is pretty cool, this Westward Expansion Museum. It's definitely undergone a lot of changes since I was here about 20 years ago. So these here are reproductions of artifacts found in the nearby mounds by the Mississippian people who lived here between 1050 and 1300 AD. This quote here talks about Pierre Laclede finding the city of St. Louis. There's a picture with a mound in the background. There's actually a bar and shopping district called Laclede's Landing, not too far from here. I'm assuming it's probably named after Mr. Pierre Laclede. So St. Louis started off as a fur trading post just west of the Mississippi, and many settlers from the east came to St. Louis became very wealthy in their fur trading businesses. Inside a recreation of Flora's house, who was a freed black woman living here in St. Louis. This graphic here talks about how St. Louis was the start of the Oregon Trail. Westward expansion in the Oregon Territory. Tatanka, or buffalo. This here talks about the different uses that the American Indians and hide hunters had for the buffalo. Here's an actual buffalo skull and a hunter's rifle right next to it. This here talks about Standing Bear and how he fought as a 17-year-old at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. And this here is William Tecumseh Sherman, Civil War general, known for his charge through the South and the destruction he caused that basically brought the South to its knees. But here he talks about how he was the general of the army from 1872 to 1883. He was a big part of the Indian Wars that forced many of the Native Americans onto reservations. Classic stagecoach that was used for transportation before the railway industry essentially made them obsolete. Thriving Mississippi River, the riverboat industry. First transcontinental railroad was actually built during the Civil War, and it bypassed St. Louis. That put a lot of these shipping lines along the river out of business. It's an old railway pocket watch, which was necessary for train transportation at the time. Because of the expansion of the railroad industry across the U.S., that was what established time zones here in America. American Indian teepee. Display case of a lot of American Indian artifacts that were said to have been on display inside William Clark's museum. None of these items were actually displayed in the museum, but these were just some examples, some recreations. Here's what the Westward expansion wagon looked like. I've seen these on many shows and movies about westward expansion. There's all the goods they would carry inside their wagon. Stop here in St. Louis, pick up supplies, and head west. There's a massive steamboat pilot's wheel. This thing's got to be about 10 feet tall, if not more. Here's a portrayal of the St. Louis levee along the Mississippi River here, circa 1840s to about the 1850s. And this section of the museum talks about the building of the arch. Here's a before and after picture of the St. Louis riverfront in 1933. And here it is all cleared out in 1942 to make way for basically a redevelopment of the land. And St. Louis held a competition of what kind of monument they wanted to put here in the park, and here's a couple of examples that were put forth to the city. Here, and then the ultimate winner, the arch. Here's a more recent model of the St. Louis Arch and Gateway Park. That's what I remember going into the last time I was here, was that entrance. Now it's a little bit further west of the monument. Here's a model of the tram that takes you up to the top of the arch. That's what it looks like inside. There's a monument to the architect and the men who helped make this arch possible. I guess that's probably signifying when the last piece of the arch was put in 1965. Yeah, so that was actually a really cool museum. It kind of reminded me of the Chicago History Museum that I went to a few weeks back. This one was quite similar in talking about how, you know, St. Louis started and how it expanded and what it became known for. I really enjoyed this time, but now I'm ready to go up into the tram. Got a trusty boarding pass, so I'm going to be in tram car number 6. The entrances to the trams right here, heading down to number 6. Alrighty, wow. Stairwell. Walking up to the top of the arch now, and you can literally feel this thing swaying on a windy day. Good morning. There's a view of the Mississippi River. Yes. And a lot of the ships breaking through the ice. East St. Louis, Illinois on the other side there. So the way they do this, they have it broken down between the south end tour groups and north end tour groups, which is what I'm on. So it's quite organized and very orderly the way they do it here. I'm currently standing at the very top of the Gateway Arch, 630 feet in the air. This is the highest monument in the Western Hemisphere. And here's a view of downtown St. Louis as the arch continues to sway. There's the old courthouse. There's Busch Stadium off in the distance there. And there's Interstate 64 running along next to Busch Stadium. They said on a clear day like this, you could see for 30 miles. It's just absolutely amazing to be up here. I wanted to visit the Gateway Arch and come up to the top here for such a long time, and to finally do it and see these breathtaking views of the Mississippi River and downtown St. Louis. It's definitely a bucket list item I could cross off the list. Some information here about the old courthouse, which can be seen through this window down here. Back in the tram now, and I'm going to be making the 3-minute journey back downstairs. They let you stay up there for about 10 minutes, just to give everybody a chance to have a view, and it's definitely worth the experience. Want to do this again with my own family, but heading back down now. That was definitely an experience that I am very happy to have finally done and can cross off the list. They do a great job of getting people in and out of there while still allowing enough time to just enjoy the experience of riding the 4-minute tram ride up and then the 3-minute tram ride down. And then you spend 10 minutes up at the top of the arch to give yourself a chance to see some really cool views of St. Louis and the Mississippi River. So I think I'm going to end the video here. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like and subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. You can also help me in other ways in growing the channel. I'll put links down in the description below. Anyways, this is Mike Allen from Chicagoland, signing off from St. Louis, Missouri, and the Gateway Arch. I'll be back next week with another video, but until then, don't you go changing.